Hi, guys. So I have a confession to make. For the past 13 years, I have lived a double life. Now, don't get too judgy. I only have one husband, and I'm not working a pole on a Wednesday. It's nothing that scandalous or dramatic. In my first life, I'm called Devin. And Devin is a free spirit. She's very unorganized, she's messy. She never picks her clothes up off the floor. Her bed is always unmade. She's always late, she cusses. Sometimes Devin drinks too much on Saturdays and then spends Sundays on the couch binge watching Law & Order SVU and eating Taco Bell. Devin has a lot of faults. In my second life, I'm called Miss Riley, and Miss Riley is basically perfect. She keeps an agenda and a to-do list. She's nice to everyone, and everyone is her friend. She's always smiling, and she knows the answer to everything. Miss Riley never drinks wine or beer or does shots of Fireball at 1 a.m. on a Friday. Miss Riley is a perfect adult and has a perfect credit score. Devin is a human being. Miss Riley is perfect because she's a teacher. Now, I never, ever, when I was growing up, thought that I wanted to be a teacher. Whenever somebody asked that very annoying question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never said teacher. I mean, teachers are the worst. Who wants to go to school every day for the rest of their lives? School sucks. Well, I thought I knew everything when I was a teenager, but one thing I didn't know is that plans never work out the way that you think they are, where you think they're gonna do. I do go to school for the rest of my life. I finished high school, and then I spent the next 10 years in higher education. I went to acting school in New York City, and then I did my undergraduate degree, and then I went to England and did my master's degree in theater, and then I finished that, and then I had an oh shit moment. I have to get a real job. A job that pays the bills, that gives me health care, retirement, that pays for my Saturday night bar tab. And that's when being a teacher started to look really good. I thought, I could be a drama teacher. At least I'd be in my art form. My degrees wouldn't go to waste. I wouldn't be stuck behind a desk in a cubicle. I could be a drama teacher. At least my degree would be put to use. And I just spent 10 years studying to be an actress. So what if being a teacher was completely opposite of what I'd be? I would act like a teacher. I would act like one. And being a teacher would be my greatest role yet. And that's how Miss Riley was born. That was the beginning of her existence. The plan was that during the workday, Monday through Friday, I would be Miss Riley, and as soon as the bell rang, Devin would be free. And just like all plans, perfect ones, there's many flaws. And one of the flaws was that it was a lot harder to keep Devin and Miss Riley separate. The first time that Devin showed up in Miss Riley's world, I had been teaching for about a month. And so far, so good. Devin and Miss Riley, they were coexisting quite nicely. It was a third grade class. We were warming up our bodies because all good actors in third grade warm up their bodies. And so one of my students' bodies got a little too warm. And we were raising our hands above our head, and then we reached down to touch our toes, and yep, that student farted. Now, that student did not poot or toot or pass gas. That student's fart was on the caliber of a 50-year-old man who drinks a six-pack a day and just ate a vat of chili. Now, Miss Riley, she tried so hard to stay in control, but Devin could not be stopped. Devin came in and she was laughing. She was laughing so hard, she was crying. And Devin lost control of the class. It was chaos. The kids were looking at Devin and they were like, who is this person? Devin is a stranger. We don't know what to do. And everything went crazy. Eventually, Miss Riley came back into control and she said, everybody focus, let's circle up. She said, farting is a natural part of life. It's nothing to laugh out. Everybody farts. And everybody, including the students and Miss Riley, sighed in relief because Devin had gone. Now, it wasn't just bodily functions that caused me to break character. Anything could catch me off guard. A few years later, I was now teaching middle school. And it was seventh grade. It was a seventh grade class, and it was the end of the period. And I turned around to write on the board homework, and something was already written on the board. And I read it, and it said, "Miss Riley is a sexy candy panda." Yes, a sexy candy panda. Now, I was wearing a black and white shirt and white pants, so it did make a little bit of sense. And what should have happened, Miss Riley should have turned around really mad, and she should have given them a lecture on respect and how disrespectful that was, and how disappointed she was in the class, and that the culprit had until the end of the day to turn themselves in, and then she should have quickly erased it. Well, Devin, she cannot resist a hilarious turn of phrase. So what ended up happening is Devin read it out loud twice, smiled, gave a little nod of gratitude, and then she walked to her desk, picked up her cell phone, took a picture of it, and posted it on Facebook. Miss Riley was very disappointed. Now, Devin wasn't the only one that entered into Miss Riley's world. Miss Riley also entered into Devin's world. And it started slow. I eventually just didn't go out on school nights, and sleeping in on Saturdays became harder. I started making to-do lists and keeping an agenda. I started using words like shoot and darn it. School supplies, I got really excited over school supplies. And shut up became the ultimate bad word. And then there was this one time I was at my aunt's house and we were having a boisterous family dinner. And you guys don't know me very well, but the Rileys, they're a pretty wild bunch. And we had all drank, 20 bottles of wine. And my aunt was trying to get everybody's attention. And what Devin would have said, "Hey, dickheads, listen up, Laura's trying to talk." Well, instead, Miss Riley raised her hand above her head and said, 1, 2, 3, focus on me. I need everybody's attention, please. Well, my Aunt Laura, she was very, very grateful, but Devin was humiliated. But one thing that I've started to realize recently is that Devin and Miss Riley, they're not so different anymore. And one person it could be blamed that I've gotten older, I'm more mature, I'm more of an adult, but I still don't adult well. I'm still pretty immature. So I don't blame that at all. What I blame the kids. Because kids change you. Kids need you to be the best version of yourself. And the kids needed Miss Riley. They needed someone who was organized, who knew the answer to every question, who was kind. But they also needed Devin. They needed a free spirit, someone who knew how to have a good time, who was fun, who would be their friend when they needed one. And then about 6 months ago, I became a mother myself, and that change was solidified. There have been many wonderful things that have passed or that have happened in my classroom. With all the thousands of students who've walked in, my jaw has dropped too many times to count. But one of those amazing things is the slow combination of Devin and Miss Riley. What has happened is that I have become the woman you see here today, the one that my students love, that my family loves, and the one that I am proud to be. Thank you.